LeBron James has dominated pro basketball for over 2 decades, becoming one of the most recognizable athletes on the planet. He grew up in front of us on television, and there are many fans of the NBA who don't know a league without King James in it. LeBron has delivered championships to 3 different franchises. He has broken records that were seen as untouchable, and he has inspired millions of people around the world as the face of the NBA. But to get to the top of the mountain, which Bron certainly has, he's also had his fair share of criticism, controversy, and moments that have divided fans in ways that are still the center of very intense debate to this day. This is part 2 of a series diving into LeBron James' most polarizing moments of all time, and getting the perspective and stories of those closest to these situations, and even the King's thoughts himself. In this video, we look at the second half of LeBron's career. The rings, the controversy, the occasional flair for the dramatic, and everything in between that made you either love him or hate him over the last 15 years. After the Heat were embarrassed in the 2011 NBA Finals, as they discussed at the end of part 1, LeBron and company knew, especially when it came to a killer mentality, they had to take things to an entirely different level, as there was no doubt the most talented team in the league at the time played in Miami. Over the next 2 seasons, Miami would completely dominate the NBA in ways that fans who were really upset with the decision when it happened were definitely afraid of from the start. They won more games in the regular season and playoffs than any other team in basketball. And when it came to the Eastern Conference, it was laughable domination, as they won 15 more playoff games than any other team in the conference during this run. LeBron took home both MVPs in the regular season and the finals, carrying Miami to back-to-back NBA titles in 2012 and 2013. And although LeBron has been great for his entire career, this small 2-year window might be the King at his absolute best ever as a basketball player. The perfect blend of amazing athleticism with expert-level basketball IQ allowed Bron to be a problem on offense and defense for 48 minutes whenever necessary. Unfortunately, by 2013 and 2014, however, there was one major elephant in the room that nobody wanted to address, but LeBron needed to monitor. And that was the health of his co-star, Dwayne Wade. Wade was a consistent 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, with dominant two-way play in the postseason for all of his career to this point. But injuries in both of his knees, some of which being chronic pain from general wear and tear, dropped the great D. Wade's scoring all the way down to an average of under 17 points per game in the 2013 and 2014 playoffs. After the 2014 Spurs easily handled Miami in the finals, LeBron was forced to look at the Heat roster honestly, and looked around the league to see if there was any team that was a LeBron James away from winning a championship. The Los Angeles Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, and Phoenix Suns had maximum level cap room and were expected to be major players in the free agent market. There were also teams like the Trailblazers and the Warriors who could get creative and possibly do a sign and trade for the King if he wanted to play there. But then, the 2014 draft lottery happened, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, with a 1.7% chance to do so, were awarded the coveted number 1 overall pick in an ultra-hyped draft class that featured Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, Marcus Smart, and many others, including the great Nikola Jokic in the second round. They also had plenty of cap space for a max contract player, and they just signed electric young point guard Kyrie Irving to an extension. It was almost as if all the stars were magically aligning for the King to make a triumphant return to the city he scorned all those years ago. And after a meeting with owner Dan Gilbert, the same man who bashed James for his decision in 2010, well, he would now be much happier with the choice James was about to make in 2014. Here's the story, followed by how both D-Wade and Chris Bosh found out that the kid from Akron was coming home.
LeBron James picks Cleveland. The decision made, the explanation simple enough. There it is. James' Instagram post, "I'm coming home." Forget business. James' choice here entirely personal. For all the success he found with the Heat, there's one thing he couldn't replace: Ohio. He is a hometown boy, and the reasons he listed for returning to the Cavs on Sports Illustrated's website read like a love letter.
Those 4 years in Miami, LeBron described like college for him. Now, LeBron returning home with knowledge, with experience, and quite a talent for putting pen to paper.
My relationship with Northeast Ohio is bigger than basketball. I didn't realize that 4 years ago. I do now. Remember when I was sitting up there at the Boys and Girls Club in 2010? I was thinking, this really is tough. I could feel it. I was leaving something I had spent a long time creating. If I had to do it all over again, I'd obviously do things differently. But I'd still have left. Miami, for me, has almost that like college for other kids. These past 4 years helped raise me into who I am. I became a better player and a better man. I learned from a franchise that had been where I wanted to go. I will always think of Miami as my second home. Without the experiences I had there, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today.
I went to Miami because of D-Wade and CB. I believed we could do something magical if we came together, and that's exactly what we did. The hardest thing to leave is what I built with those guys. I've talked to some of them, and we'll talk to others. Nothing will ever change what we accomplished. We are brothers for life.
LeBron decides to head back to Cleveland. Was that a shock to you and D-Wade? Was it talked about amongst you three? How did you find out he was decided to go back to take his talents back to Cleveland?
Through a text. Through a text. I thought it was BS, and then, about 10 minutes later, it's everywhere. I understand it. I get it. At the time, I didn't understand it. At the time, in my mind, I was ready to put the team back together so we could, because we had just lost. So we wanted to put something back together so we could win. And it really didn't go like that. I took offense to it, to be honest with you, at first. I was only thinking of how I felt about it. And me and Brian talked about it. But I'm a competitor. And to be honest with you, shit, when you go back to the locker room and Brian ain't in that chair, and then everybody's kind of looking at you for that 25 points and looking at D for that 25 points, it's like, damn, man. Shit, my knee hurts. But you realize how, we really did realize how special of a player he was. But at that time, I was super competitive. I was upset. It still worked out for everybody. But I was upset, and it took some time to get over it. I want to say it took months to get over it. Me and we had to be in the same place and talk about it. Nothing deep, but just talk and get back to the good terms and get back to where we were. I'm glad we did. And it was tough to deal with, but at the same time, we had to get back to a mode of not rebuilding, but getting more out of ourselves and out of our team, and not always having that easy thing to rely on number 6 to do his job. And you're going to get 20, 28, 8, and 8, and all I got to do is this, shuffle things up.
Did you guys have a conversation? Did you know he was thinking about leaving Miami? And did you think he'd go back to Cleveland?
I didn't know he was thinking about it right away. We just had a 4-year run. That was not what I was thinking about.
Right.
I didn't think Cleveland was on the docket at all.
Right.
Once that letter came out 4 years prior, I was like, well, it's over for them.
I appreciate that. Given that the letter that Dan Gilbert, the owner, who had worked so closely with LeBron James, with the things that he said, because now all of a sudden it's not about basketball, you made it personal. How is LeBron? LeBron is a very forgiving person, because there are guys that's taking shots at him that he's willing to embrace again. Like, now, we cool later for that. How is he able to forget? Because most people aren't as forgiving or as forgetful as he is, especially when look, if you say something to me in private, just me and you know, okay, cool, I don't rock with you no more, but cool. Yeah. But when you put it out there for 25, 100 million people to read, I can't rock with you on that level no more, bro.
Bigger man than me.
Yeah. How does he?
I'm petty.
Yeah. How did he set that aside?
I don't know. And that's why I never thought Cleveland was in play. And not saying that I never thought he was going to be in Miami forever. Like, we weren't thinking that way. But I never thought Cleveland was in play because I'm petty. And so if I was going off of how I would have done it, no, I'm not coming back to you. But at the same time, man, LeBron has a journey, and it's bigger than a letter that Dan Gilbert could put out. It's bigger than what someone sitting across the table from you may say.
Right.
Because he's been King James since he was 12 years old.
Right.
He has had a vision for how he wants this to go.
Right.
And if you allow all these individuals to get in the way of your vision, then it becomes theirs, what they want for your career, what he wants for his.
Right.
And so when we went into free agency that summer, I didn't think that we wasn't coming back.
Right.
Right? I thought we was going to retool. That's what teams do. They retool. And so once I started hearing the noise on the outside and I started hearing Cleveland, I started seeing things, I was like, oh, there's some truth to noise.
Right.
Some truth to noise.
Yeah. There's truth even in a lie.
Yeah, there's something in there. And I didn't even know it was a thing because we never talked about, hey, that was never our conversation.
Right.
And so I looked at that move going back to Cleveland as this man, first of all, bigger man than me in that moment to go back. But it wasn't about Dan Gilbert. It wasn't about the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's about LeBron James and his family and what he want to accomplish and how he see his career going. And so to be able to fly higher than most people, like LeBron plane has been at 40,000 feet since he took off. I hit some turbulence, then went down. We landed.
Yeah.
I landed my plane back in 2019. He's
Right.
been at 40,000 and higher since he started. And so to be at that level, you have to look above. And he looked above and got what he needed for his career.
Right.
Yeah. And so when I did get the information from him that he was headed back to Cleveland, I mean, I took it like I take everything else. I took it on the chin because I'm not a selfish guy. I mean, I have selfish acts and selfish moments, but my whole being is not selfish. And so if that's what that man want to do for his life, like, I support him doing it. I just got to now figure out my life because I had a whole different plan for how I wanted mine to go.
Right.
And, you know, one thing I told him in that moment, we were sitting outside the plane. I think even the camera crew might have got us talking because we had just flew back in from Vegas before the announcement was made the next day. And we're sitting out there and I told him, I said, man, listen, everybody's going to win no matter what you do. If you stay here, we all win. LeBron James stays in Miami, we win. You go to Cleveland, Cleveland's going to win. Ultimately, you got to do what's best for LeBron.
Right.
And so if this is what's best for LeBron James, Savannah James, Bryce, and Bronny, and Zuri wasn't at that stage, if this was better for your family, if you're looking for blessing from me, you got my blessing, right? I'm not going to hold you back. Now I got to go deal with my side because I had a whole different mentality. I opted out of my deal. I did all these things because I'm like, hey, we retooling. And so a lot of people like to say, was it a part of me that was a little pissed? Yeah, I'm human.
Right.
I don't want to lose the best player in the game. What do we do? Why did we lose him?
Right.
And also, too, now I got to figure out my future, right? Because I've given up a lot of my stardom and I've given up my place for you to step in and help lead us. And so it took me a while, and Brian and I had a conversation later once before I got to Cleveland about that moment and how I felt and how he felt. We sat down as men and we talked about that moment and we moved on from it.
That was a difficult time for you because you gave up $20 million that wasn't repaid to you.
Yeah, you don't get money back. Money don't come back, people. You can make more, but you ain't getting that money back.
You ain't gonna get one.
I don't care what nobody tell y'all. You can't recruit that money.
No.
Despite changing teams and having to learn to play with guys like Kyrie Irving and Timberwolves double-double machine Kevin Love, the man Cleveland acquired in a trade for that #1 pick, LeBron didn't miss a beat and continued to dominate the Eastern Conference with relative ease, making the NBA Finals, going 12-2 in the East playoffs with 2 sweeps. In the West, however, something special was just starting to form in the Bay Area, as new head coach Steve Kerr's game plan unblocked the Golden State Warriors and, more specifically, unleashed the greatest shooter of all time, Stephen Curry, who would win his first MVP in 2015. They would also cruise to the finals with a 12-3 record, and Curry would elevate all his statistics against the West, scoring over 29 points per game. LeBron, who lost Kevin Love in the first round, and then Kyrie after Game 1 of the finals, somehow had the Cavs up 2-1 after 3 games, putting up insane numbers. But eventually, the Warriors' depth would be the difference, and they would defeat LBJ and the Cavs in 6 games. This led many fans to have 2 thoughts. Could the Warriors become a dynasty? And would the Cavs have won if K-Love and Kyrie had played? This led to one of the most exciting seasons in NBA history, 2015 to 2016. The Warriors would gain extreme confidence after winning their first title and went on an absolute warpath. They won their first 24 games in a row and finished with an NBA record 73 regular season wins. They were heavy favorites to win the NBA title regardless of their opponent. The Cavs, however, had an up-and-down regular season. Yes, they did still finish first in the East, but they switched coaches halfway through the season. Kyrie had to play himself back into form after fracturing his kneecap, and there was no way they could be seen as a true threat to win gold in 2016 when the Warriors just broke the NBA record for wins in a season. Despite this, the rematch would present itself for the 2016 finals, and the Golden State Warriors would be massive betting favorites to beat the Cavs. And in the first 4 games, they would make Vegas look very smart, taking a 3-1 series lead on Cleveland. No team had ever come back from a 3-1 deficit to win the NBA Finals. And against this historic Warriors team, it didn't look like this series was going to be any different. But then, it happened. LeBron would put up back-to-back 41-point games to get the Cavs to a Game 7 at Oracle Arena in the Bay Area. That guaranteed finals-ending game would go down as one of the greatest of all time. And the King would put his stamp on it with the greatest block of his career, chasing down Andre Iguodala. By the end of the game, LeBron and the Cavs had completed the comeback, and the kid from Akron made good on his promise to his city, bringing a championship to Cleveland for the first time in 52 years. Now, it's not really the fact that he won this that's controversial, unless you ask Draymond Green. But what was incredibly polarizing was LeBron's feelings on what this championship did for his own career and legacy. Take a listen.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For so many reasons.
I was super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. I was ecstatic. Obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. That was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. Then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
I've never heard one of the greatest say they were the greatest of all time. That was very interesting to me. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Oof, man. You know what? It's one thing. We all sit at this table all the time and sing his praises. Yeah. I think LeBron is a great player. Yeah. I just think that's disrespectful, honestly, to Bill Russell. What did Bill Russell do? Won every time. He said, all right, fellas, you want to win? Come with me. We'll go on the floor. That's what this game's all about. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
And he was great on all levels, though, Kareem. The best in high school, the best in college, and the best in the pros.
That's what I'm saying. Michael. I mean, there's just so many. Two of my good, Larry and Magic. He just led teams and turned the league around. You don't need to say that about yourself. Let other people say that for you. I was kind of surprised because I had read about it, but that's the first time I had actually heard him say it. It made me the GOAT. I'm like, damn. I was like, okay, I love the kid. He's a great player. I think he's been great for the game. But let other people say that for you. To me, it's just disrespectful for a lot of people that came before you that were great, great, great players.
And everybody knows I love LeBron, but I'm going to call timeout on this one. Because, and I'll speak definitely to LeBron, or I'll say it to his face, but there's a certain thing about greatness that demands that you have humility with greatness. Now, I've never heard, even though we argue about Michael Jordan being the greatest of all time, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being the greatest of all time, LeBron James being the greatest of all time, we have those arguments in debate. I have never heard Michael Jordan say he's the greatest of all time. Yeah. Even though he may think that, even though Kareem may think that, you just don't come out and say that. Now, in this era, maybe it's okay for people to come out and say that. All I know, if I was in the league right now, and you talking about you the greatest of all time, dude, I'm getting ready to do you. I'm coming at you. Like, and you may be, but to say that is just totally disrespectful to me as one of your competitors, as one of your teammates, as someone in your generation. It's just, You don't come out and say that. So with greatness, there's a certain amount of humility that goes with that. Now, somebody will probably come back and say, Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest. But that was a single-man sport.
Yeah,
that was an individual sport.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods can make the argument he's the greatest because it's single.
Yeah.
But when you saying, and by the way, Muhammad Ali was saying he the greatest because he was getting in the ring and he knocked you out.
Right.
Danny Ainge not only disagrees, he strongly disagrees. Here's what he said about LeBron in a local sports radio show in Boston. Quote,
his career's not over. I'd just like to, why he's saying that, I don't know. Maybe he thinks that sells. Maybe he's taking the Donald Trump approach and trying to sell himself. I don't know. But time will tell. I think history, I don't even know if anybody knows who the greatest of all time is because the eras are so different.
Wow.
follow that, Scottie Pippen.
That's a tough one to follow. I mean, that's Danny Ainge's opinion,
Right.
and we all have our opinion. But my problem is more so with LeBron. If you are the greatest player, if people are saying you are the greatest player, or if people are saying Michael Jordan is the greatest player, why do you need to say it?
Right.
Michael Jordan has never, ever said he's the greatest player to ever play the game. Why? He's respected all the other players before him. So for LeBron to say that, he's pulling himself out of it because you can't say you're the greatest player. You have to allow your peers in the world to say that. Winning ultimately decides who the greatest players are in the game.
Max, what's your reaction to what Ainge said about LeBron?
Well, I take what he said about the Donald Trump approach to mean shameless self-promotion completely divorced from reality. That's not what LeBron James is doing. LeBron James has evidence to support his argument as greatest of all time, but I think it fails because there was a Michael Jordan. Otherwise, he'd have a hell of a case. Sure, there's some self-promotion, and the shop and everything on HBO, that is a vehicle for him. But I didn't take it as just shameless self-promotion, building his brand. I believe that LeBron feels that way, Stephen A., that he had to slay the monster that Michael Jordan never had to slay. Of course, I think that's because Jordan's teams were always the monster. That shouldn't be held against Jordan. But Danny Ainge talking about why is LeBron talking about himself, self-promoting, I wouldn't say it's divorced from reality and purely based on self-promotion. I disagree with Danny Ainge.
Well, what I took from what Danny Ainge was saying is that, excuse me, who the hell told you you did enough to eclipse Michael Jordan? Because that's what I took it as. You haven't. And that's really what this comes down to. You are not better than Michael Jordan was. Plain and simple. So you sitting there and saying, when I beat the Golden State Warriors, when Draymond Green got suspended and Steph Curry wasn't 100% and Andre Iguodala and Andrew Bogut got hurt in Game 5, but I ultimately slayed the monster and I win a championship. Oh, now I know I'm better than Michael. Because if you say you're the GOAT, let's be clear about it. LeBron James came into the NBA wearing what number? What belief did he have? What was he trying to slay? So the target was MJ. If you're saying you're the GOAT, you're saying that at that point, you realized you were better than Michael Jordan. Well, damn it, he might be the only one.
Yeah.
I need one word answer. Chauncey, greatest of all time. Greatest of all time, Jalen?
Airness.
Greatest of all time?
Unanimous.
Thank you very much. That being said, Jalen, I want to start with you. How do you feel about LeBron saying that about himself?
First and foremost, to me, LeBron officially passed Larry Bird and got into the top 5 when he won his only championship in Cleveland. In my mind, he still has a way to go clearly to pass Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, 11 championships, 13 years, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
the captain.
And my heart just won't let him pass Magic just yet. I got to see a little bit more.
I agree with everything you're saying, Jay. I love it. I love that he stepped out there and said that. I don't remember any other player ever coming out and saying, I'm the greatest of all time. I've never seen that before. I love that he's done that. He's on the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, but I can't put him at the top. There's no way I can put him at the top. And at the end of the day, and he talked about this, that win, beating that team, made him the greatest of all time. Maybe if he would have hit that shot that Kyrie hit,
I mean, that is a part of the narrative.
I could see him maybe saying that, but I can't go there. I'm sorry.
You know what? We should turn to our resident self-promoter.
No, I don't know if you can self-proclaim this, because when you think of all the great players, like Jalen said, Kareem, Magic, none of them has never come out and said, I'm the GOAT. You know, that's something up to like the fans, the writers, and former players So when they come out with these ESPN rankings and all these other rankings, let that be the judge, I think. But the self-proclaiming, he's definitely up there. He's definitely top 5 in my book. But I think when you look at the accolades, the championships, I mean, Jordan, Magic, Kareem, they're all up there.
LeBron was not simply carrying a terrible Cavs team alone like he had in his first stint there in the 2000s. He had significantly more help, and even a young and up-and-coming co-star that might go down as the greatest ball handler of all time. To say Kyrie Irving was huge for Cleveland in the 2016 playoffs and finals would be a complete understatement. He became a star when he matched LeBron's point total of 41 in Game 5, leading the team in the second half and the fourth quarter in scoring. And then, of course, put himself on the map with his game-winning three-pointer in Game 7. The dynamic between James and Irving on the court was mostly fine, but there was a certain big bro, lil bro aspect of their relationship that LeBron would often embrace, but Kyrie totally resented.
Tristan called LeBron a great father after the Chicago game. What? Yes.
Great father. Oh, a great father. Oh, I thought no, I interpreted that complete wrong. I thought you said he was a great father to him. I was like, what?
Called him a great father. So
Yeah.
what type of parental role has he played for you and your teammates, LeBron?
Oh, okay. So you.
Because that question was crazy. When somebody asked me if LeBron was like a father figure to me, bro, shit was crazy, bro. That was a crazy-ass question. He's like a few years older than me. You asked this man if he was my father figure, bro. I got a father right there, Dredderick Irving. No disrespect, bro.
Like parental role? Honestly, I don't know how to really answer that question. He's been a great leader for us. I have one father. That's my dad, Dredderick Irving. But for us, in terms of learning the nuances of the game and also how to win on the court and also how to carry ourselves off the court, I feel like he's been a great influence in that role.
This tension would culminate during the 2017 NBA playoffs, when reports surfaced of Kyrie Irving going almost a week without speaking to his Cleveland Cavaliers teammates at practice, especially LeBron James. This was seen as shocking at the time, because of all the things that LeBron is criticized for. One thing that the NBA community agreed upon is that LeBron is and was a fantastic teammate, and someone that playing with would make basketball fun and easy. But not Kyrie. If we had to compare it to a previous NBA beef, LeBron is more like Shaq, and Irving was more like Kobe, whom he sought counsel with during this time. This tension was noticed by Cavs management, who, allegedly without LeBron's knowledge, tried to trade Irving around the 2017 NBA draft for Paul George. This outraged Kyrie, who decided if that's how Cleveland felt, that he would have knee surgery during the upcoming 2017-2018 season, leaving him unavailable for the Cavs unless Dan Gilbert traded him. Gilbert didn't have to honor the request though, as Irving had 2 years left on his contract. But according to multiple sources, Irving, threatening to sit out the season and have surgery on his knee, convinced Gilbert and Cleveland's front office that the relationship was not salvageable, and it was time to move on. On August 22, 2017, the Cavs shipped Kyrie off to Boston, leaving a 33-year-old LeBron James alone in Cleveland for the first time since 2010. Here are both men on their thoughts of the entire situation.
Somebody said if you don't like playing with LeBron, you wouldn't like playing with Kobe. Bro, you guys got to stop these narratives, man. It's not that I didn't like playing with Bron, you guys, and I don't want to go into detail about it. Some of y'all comments just be so asinine.
What have you learned? What have you learned over the last 3 years, 4 years? You went through... He was the eye of the storm for one time. I don't want to talk about the storm. Let's just talk about what you've learned from it. Who am I sitting in front of today?
I have been through a lot more than I could probably speak on in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't use it as baggage that I like to carry around with me. My history is my history. I've done some quirky shit in public and some quirky shit behind the scenes, and I've dealt with the vilification of that. Playing with Bron and playing with KD, these are two of the best to ever lace them up, but within our culture, they are two true icons. And I had to fill in those shoes that were very uncomfortable for me because at that point in my life, I didn't know where I wanted to go.
Bro, when I was in Cleveland and I was a young player, I had no idea Bron was going to come back. Yeah, I had no idea that Cleveland was going to welcome him back. After the shit I witnessed when I was 18 years old and I had to watch him leave Cleveland, I don't think you guys realize the depths of that.
I was watching the 30 for 30 on a decision. A year later, I was drafted into that Cleveland emotional train of the prodigal son, chosen one has left, and here we have this 19-year-old kid. I'm 6'2", I'm not jumping out of the gym. Emotionally, I was dealing with things that I had no idea.
Had nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. So when I took on that pressure and as my own, I started feeling like I got to bring Cleveland back to the promised land. That's a solo act.
And during that time when I was in Cleveland, I had no say-so in what was going on. I was just a young player. I signed my max deal with Cleveland. I had no idea, man. I found out that Bron was coming back like the rest of you guys in the world. I had no inclination. I had no time to prepare. It's not that it was on my bingo card, like I'm going to spend my career playing with Bron. Like, I had no idea, guys. And just for somebody giving that comment, I appreciate you allowing me to go detailing it, because the reason why I say I would have loved to play with Kobe, because I would have loved to have started my career with, I love Cleveland, don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of all the things that they've done for me, but at the same time, I would have loved to choose the franchise I wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to develop next to some of my favorite players and some of my favorite people. Being a young player, when you're on a team that's not winning a lot of games, there's a lot of bad habits that form, and that's what ended up happening to me when I was very young. I had a lot of bad habits. I was not a winner. I was not a loser, at all. Like, take my accountability. I had a lot of bad habits as a young player, and that came from losing games and just trying to get buckets all the time, right? I know it may have been beautiful for everybody to watch and getting all the highlights and getting all the accolades, but all I really wanted to do was win. I've won a high school championship. My goal was to win a college championship, and I've won an NBA championship. For me, I've grown up in this industry or grown up in this culture as a winner. I've won a lot of games. I've lost a lot of games. You know what I mean? I've been to the finals. I've won in the finals. I've lost in the finals multiple times. So for me, I'm happy with being able to get a chance to play with good teams. But when you guys make it about one player, it is kind of just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just one player that you have to promote. Like, we had like players on our team, and I probably took that for granted more often. Like, when we were really good, I was like, damn, we're actually pretty good. We got a lot of veterans. We got a lot of people that commit to it. But when you're playing with somebody like Bron or somebody that you guys like to compare him to, it's a different animal. It's a different journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, automatically expected to be at the top of the charts, the top of the league. Every time you play with Bron, it's going to be a lot of media attention. It's going to be a lot of back and forth of narratives. It's going to be about a lot of spun narratives. It's going to be a lot of politics. It's going to be a lot of shit that a lot of people don't see in front of the camera. For me, I was just a young person trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not that I dislike playing with Bron at any time. It was just literally, it was my time to move on. And that's what people got to accept. They want a deeper, detailed dive in terms of what happened. It was my time to move on.
You went through that when you were 19. How old were you when Bron came back?
22.
23. With what you know now at 30, do you do anything differently during that period?
We could stay here for hours.
Well, I mean, I tell you one thing, and obviously this is something that was a big deal for me because I had to call Bron, tell him, like, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to at my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people. And Bron was one of those guys that came to Cleveland and tried to really show us what it's like to win a championship. And it was hard for him. And getting the most out of the group, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And like I said, only few are meant for it or chosen for it. And like the best person to call was him because he's been in the situation, he's been there with me where I've been the young guy of the 22-year-old kid and everything right now. Off an all-star year starting, and then this tech of a presence comes back, and now I got to adjust my game to this guy. It's personal, but at the end of the day, he just wants what's best, and he has a legacy he wants to leave, and he has a window he wants to capture. So I think what that brought me back to is, like, how do I get the best out of this group of the success they had last year, and then helping them realize what it takes to win a championship.
I was there for hours going through the details, combing through it, but I think the greatest thing I would tell the youth is superheroes need help. The leader of the team doesn't always have to take on the burden, and Bron took on crazy burdens. We feel, that's the biggest commonality we have as human beings is emotions. They may look different in how we express it, but they're the same. If you're angry or you're sad or you're going through stuff in your life, it is the same emotion that I would feel. Just may look different. I'll be honest with you, I was in those circles where the shadows were all around me, partying my ass off, relationships here and there, going through heartbreak. going through things that show the authentic, true you because somebody's actually putting up with your shit. Shout out to my wife.
Had LeBron and Kyrie stayed together, they win another championship?
Yes, sir. Also think if KD doesn't go to Golden State.
Oh, yeah, but they had to get it.
Yeah.
Had to get him. They were never going to beat you guys again, Tilo.
Yeah. I think we win.
3 in a row.
And I think Kyrie stays because you can't leave after that.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I think he stays, and I think got a chance to win 2 or 3.
Is there anything you could have done differently to maybe keep Kyrie and LeBron together? Or has Kyrie made his mind up that he wanted to go elsewhere?
He had made his mind up. That's like a Kobe and Shaq situation. I would never let it happen.
You're right.
Like begged and pleaded. You know?
LeBron said he begged and pleaded,
too.
said, hey, don't trade him. He still got a year on his contract. Don't trade him.
Bron was doing an autograph sign with jerseys and stuff for his foundation. So I come sit next to Bron. We sitting there, handling the phone, Sports Center. Kyrie Irving's just been traded to the Boston Celtics. Man, Bron dropped the marker and just lays back in his chair for about 10 minutes. Doesn't say a word, like pissed off. And Bron was crushed. And I saw when that happened, I thought things would, Bron would do something different, later. And that's what he did.
So you believe LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland had Kyrie stayed in Cleveland?
Yes.
Damn. You've seen breakups. You were there. Weren't there at the time, but Kobe and Shaq. You saw Blake and CP3. You saw LeBron, Kyrie. If somebody would have told you in the beginning how well it was working, that this was going to be the ultimate outcome, would you have believed it?
As far as what?
Them parting ways.
All those guys?
Yeah.
No. I couldn't see it, the way it happened, especially like Kobe and Shaq being in it every single day, being in the locker room. Like, they had too many great guys around them. That was tough. And then I think Kyrie, his biggest thing is like, he's a competitor.
Yeah.
He's a killer. So he wanted to show, kind of like Kobe did.
Yep, because that's his mentor.
Go win, LeBron, and for me to take that next step, this is what I got to do. And so to have his own team and to do that, was his goal, and that's what he wanted to do.
Right.
So I don't think it was nothing no ill will against LeBron. Right. It was just something he wanted to do for his career.
Right.
Jason hit me today, and he's like, hey, I want you to ask LeBron, what is his favorite thing about X player? He's like, I'm always like, what's my favorite thing about Luka? And he named some random thing that Luka did, which is like happens once a game. Like, no, I'm just kidding, Jason. The one guy we haven't talked about, by the way, is Kyrie Irving.
Listen, I will call Kyrie the wizard all the time. There was nothing on the basketball floor that Kyrie couldn't do. And sitting here watching it, playing like fucking happy and so proud and to watch him and continue his growth or whatever the case may be. And at the same time, I'm so fucking mad at the same time that I am not his running mate anymore. So I'm like, just remember those times. Back to what you were saying, JJ, like to have a guy like Kyrie Irving as the ultimate wild card, like having a draw 4 in your hand every time someone deals you cards in Uno. Because he has the ability to, like you said, I saw him in game 1, Western Conference Finals, game 1. I think up until that point, I don't know the stat because I'm not writing down the stats and I don't call the games like you guys, but I think Kyrie was only averaging like 8 points in the first half, like in the second round of the playoffs. He was getting 16 to 20 in the second half, but in the first half of games, it was like
6 to 8. Yeah, I don't know
like
the exact number.
Points.
It was 6 to 8. Yeah.
You're like, okay, you're going to have Kyrie in the fourth, but I need you sometimes in the first half too, brother. But like, I have so many words to praise Kyrie that I end up with absolutely none. Because he's the most gifted player the NBA has ever seen. He has the best gifts I've ever seen of any NBA player. I've never seen a guy in my NBA life that feels better at times shooting with his offhand than he does with his primary hand. If Kyrie's off in a game with his right hand, he will literally go exclusively to his left hand. I've never seen nothing like that.
Heading into the 2017 to 2018 season, after 7 straight years of making the NBA Finals with 2 different teams, and finally capturing a title for Cleveland in 2016, LeBron James found himself in a familiar position, but not necessarily one he wanted to be in ever again. Thanks to trading Kyrie Irving, the Cavs now had the king of the fourth, Isaiah Thomas, who had the best season of his career the year before in Boston. But the 5'9" Dynamo had suffered a significant hip injury in the playoffs and would not be available until January of 2018. This meant that on opening night, LeBron James' teammates in the starting lineup for Cleveland were obviously Kevin Love, who was simply not the same player he had been in his early 20s. 3-and-D journeyman Jay Crowder, Derrick Rose, who was a former MVP of the league and was only 29 years old, but it had been 7 long and physically painful seasons since his MVP win, and Rose was far from that player despite his young age. And finally, at 2 guard, an old friend, both figuratively and literally, as the 36-year-old Dwayne Wade came to Cleveland during a brief 1.5-year window where he wasn't the king of Miami. This lack of help forced LeBron to do something he didn't want to be doing anymore as he got older, and that's carry the load of the regular season on his back for his franchise. He would play all 82 games for the only time ever in his career. He'd lead the league in minutes, total points, and field goals made on the season. And this was just an appetizer for what he would have to do in the 2018 playoffs if LBJ was going to make an 8th straight NBA Finals. With a younger core thanks to massive trades at the 2018 deadline, LeBron went to war against the Pacers, Raptors, and Celtics in the East playoffs. Yes, the Raptors series was a complete display of domination by LeBron, so much so that fans online claimed the Canadian city should be renamed to LeBronto. But the other 2 series were knockdown, drag-out, 7-game fights, where Indiana and Boston might have had more depth, but the best player of both of those series wore number 23 for Cleveland. Bron simply refused to be denied, averaging an insane 34 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 8.8 assists per game in 18 games against the Eastern Conference to get the Cavs to a 4th straight NBA Finals against Stephen Curry, their Hall of Fame mercenary Kevin Durant, and the rest of the stacked Golden State Warriors. If Cleveland was going to have any chance in the series, LeBron was going to have to do his best impression of Michael Jordan in Game 6 of the 1998 Finals, but for an entire series from start to finish. In Game 1, miraculously, a laser-focused LeBron had 49 points through 47.5 minutes of action, and somehow had a Warriors team that was expected to win easily within a bucket of losing to the Cavs and pulling off a huge upset to open the series. But then, this happened.
James pass inside on a foul call on Tristan Thompson. He held George Hill.
Good contact from Klay Thompson.
And Hill will shoot free throws. They're in the penalty. Big free throws here. George Hill's an 80% free throw shooter during his 10-year career. Hill misses. Rebound goes to the Cavs. J.R. Smith brings it back out. Throws it to Hill. Hill's shot blocked. And we'll go to overtime. You get the feeling J.R. Smith thought they had the lead.
This insane blunder from J.R. Smith sent LeBron over the edge. And when it was time to play OT, the King was physically and emotionally spent, especially when he found out there was a timeout they could have used before regulation ended to get another possession and a chance to beat this monstrous Golden State team. LeBron would average nearly 35 points per game in the 2018 Finals, but his Cavs were swept by the Warriors in their 4th and final encounter on the league's biggest stage. After Game 4, LeBron would appear at the post-game presser with a black cast on his hand and wrist, claiming he injured it after Game 1, smashing a whiteboard in anger and frustration after the loss in the locker room. Here's LeBron explaining the cast and the reaction surrounding said cast, as well as the 2018 Finals as a whole.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. LeBron, we're just learning about your hand injury, and we can obviously see the brace. Can you take us through what happened and if it caused you any problems over the final 3 games?
What happened? Self-inflicted, post-game after Game 1. Very emotional for a lot of different reasons. Understanding how important a Game 1 is on the road for our ball club. What would that done for us? The way we played, the calls that was made throughout the course of that game, And I had emotions on the game was taken away from us. I had emotions of you just don't get an opportunity like this on the road versus Golden State to be able to get a game one and let the emotions get the best of me and pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So that's what it is. When you have a goal, I think any individual, any male, female, whoever the case may be, when you have a goal and you seek that goal out and you dream about that dream and you put everything you can to guys like this cast. You want me to sit right here for it? I don't even know where I was, Rach. I'm sorry. Next question. I'm sorry.
Get your thoughts on the LeBron scenario. He punches a whiteboard after the loss in Game 1, admits that he was frustrated, says he's practically playing with a broken hand the last 3 games. They did MRIs. All this stuff came out. Do you want to give us the verbiage behind that side?
He said that you say he...
I'm telling you what he said.
He said he...
That's basically the gist of it, yes.
Well, did he have a broken hand or not?
Officially?
Well, of course he didn't. He said basically he did. Well, first of all, he's a dummy for hitting the board, but they wasn't going to win the series anyway. Come on, man. Come on, stop that. Come on, stop that. These guys got swept.
Does it bother you that this comes out now and that this is the story?
Bothers
He
the hell
comes out
of
with
me.
like a cast and all that?
It bothers me. He could have said it after Game 1 if he did after Game 1. After Game 4, now he says it. Come on, man.
Well, we didn't really see any evidence of that during Games 2, Game 3. And
at all.
The end of Game 4, when he checked out of the game and he was shaking a nice show of
Because he got hit on that play.
He got hit?
When
Draymond came from behind.
Yes.
Well, maybe he got re-aggravated there. But in that situation, if you didn't mention it before, don't mention it now.
Yes, exactly.
If you could write something on this cast, what would you write? Here it is, Chuck. Let's take a look at the cast. I think we have a picture of the cast. There it is. You want to write something on there?
I don't want to see the guy become a mercenary. If he goes somewhere else and win championship, it won't be the same. If he starts that super team thing that he started again, that won't impress me. Winning that one, Cleveland impressed me. And they got some pieces on this team. I agree with Kobe Bryant. This notion that he's playing with trash is wrong. I don't think Coach Lou, he's the biggest culprit, empowers those guys to play and be free. Coach Lou could do a much better job, and also LeBron could do it. He should give those guys confidence. Shoot the ball. Don't wait on me every single time. But Kobe Bryant called it. He says, this notion he only playing with trash. I don't believe that.
Bother you, Webb, that we sit there and now the conversation is going to be about a hand instead of the real point, which is they got swept?
And to me, the point isn't even if they got swept. They lost the series. And so losing is losing, whether it's Game 7 or Game 6. But I don't like the narrative because it takes away from everything else. It takes away from how great Durant played. It takes away from how great LeBron has played all season. Not that he wants one, but he doesn't need an excuse. He does not need to listen to the fans. He does not need to listen to the media. He is one of the best players ever, and I just hope that he's happy and satisfied with that. And that's why I want him and to come back to Cleveland, because Chuck just said about a mercenary, but also, Grant, when I look at him going other places, if it's not guys that are willing to listen, that understand his game, I think that can get ugly too. And so, to me, I don't like talking about the hand because it didn't matter. They lost tonight anyway, and if they would have won tonight, they would have gone to Golden State and lost anyway. But it's been a great series, and that's what I've enjoyed.
Series that goes to the Warriors, again, most lopsided sweep that the NBA has ever seen in a final. You look at some of the struggles in the finals for LeBron, obviously, who dominated the East, has had a fantastic career that will continue somewhere.
I'm with whatever happened and how it took place.
Right, people get angry.
I think throughout the series, you don't want to show or even deal with the media about the injury, but you definitely don't want to show weakness to your opponent that you got a bruised hand or a broken finger or whatever.
If you found out that a guy you're guarding has a broken hand, what are you doing?
Well, it just depends on situations in the game. You're definitely going to push him to his weak hand. You're going to make him use that.
What are you doing?
You're going to give him a hard foul when you get the opportunity.
Every single time.
Not to be dirty, but you're going to give a guy a hard foul.
That's part of the game.
And not to say that Draymond is a dirty player, but believe me, if he would have went to the bucket and Draymond knew that he had a bruised hand, he was going to give him a hard foul.
Swiping hard.
If you're only stopping 2 points.
Right. So I think everyone who knows basketball agrees that it was totally reasonable for them to keep that close to the vest through the series. I guess the next question is the fact that it came out right after the finals loss. Should it have come out at all? And should he have worn the wrap to the press conference?
My thing is this, and this is the hardest question to answer because only a handful of people on this earth know what it's like to be him and be scrutinized for everything you do. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
But I felt like that's not something that he should have said. Ty Lue should have got up and been like, that guy played with a broken hand this entire series, the last 3 games of this series. But when it's him saying it, not that he's lying or anything, but people take it a different way. People take it a different way. It sounds like an excuse that he's making, even though it's actually something that happened and he took the blame for it.
Well, certain players, I would say yes, you're probably right, but I don't think LeBron is being characterized as a player that makes excuses. He always shows up to play. He always lifts his teammates, so he's not the guy that's going to walk in and start discussing about his hand. I think, from my perspective, someone from the media noticed it and went at him about it, and he had to go ahead and elaborate on the situation. But as a player, when the battle is over, you want all your wounds to heal, patch up all your scars. So this was one of those situations that LeBron is not going to the training room the next day.
Right.
The season is over.
Right.
Do what you got to do, and I'll go in here and deal with the press because he's going to have to face the music anyway.
Well, see, I kind of think it's a combination of what you guys said because, yes, I think you're right. And anyone knows that the logistics work. The way it works is they're in the locker room, they get any post-game treatment, they get their ice, they get any wraps, they get anything they need. Then they move toward the press conference room, and then they go from the press conference room to their cars to the bus. That's sort of the progression of it. However, I will say, because he's LeBron James, because everybody is watching every little move, and I do think people are looking for him to mess up in that way, or looking for him, oh, now he brings out the rep, all that stuff. It's a lot to ask someone to be over perfect about dealing with every potential criticism. I'm not saying he should have, but if you really wanted to fend off this particular potential criticism, yes, you could have gone from the locker room to the press conference room, and then either gone back to the training room to get your wrap, or go home where we know he has an extensive training setup, where his trainers have been working on him at his house this entire playoffs for different reasons. If he said, hey, I'll just do it at home, somebody would have come to LeBron's house to do it at home. I'm not saying he should have had to have done that. There's certainly an element of, hey, this is how it works. I don't need to do some special thing just to fend off the yelling people on TV. I get that too. But if you wanted to absolutely fend off all of the optics issues, he could have done that. Because you could have foreseen that when you show up with a rap after you get swept, some people are going to...
It's the hardest job in the world, LeBron James.
Yeah, it is tough.
After the stress and pressure of the 2018 finals and season as a whole, it was again time for LeBron to leave his home state if he had any chance to get another ring. As soon as free agency opened that summer, LeBron got off a private jet in Los Angeles and had a meeting with Magic Johnson, then the LA Lakers president of basketball operations. The Lakers organization has a history of acquiring the most elite free agents that have ever been in the open market. And now, they would add LeBron James to that exclusive list. A year after bringing LeBron in, the Lakers would acquire New Orleans Pelicans two-way beast Anthony Davis to pair with the King in LA for the 2019 to 2020 season. And despite COVID shutting down the league and forcing the NBA to finish out their season in the bubble, LeBron and AD's chemistry on offense, and especially defense, pushed them through the playoffs and to the Kings' fourth NBA title. Outside of that lone championship season, however, LeBron's tenure in Los Angeles has been average to say the least, as the Lakers were unable to win 50 games and placed no higher than the 7th seed over the next 4 seasons. Normally, this type of finish wouldn't mean anything other than simply a mediocre season, but in 2021, Adam Silver and the NBA would begin the play-in tournament, forcing the Lakers to put their 7th seed that year at risk against the 8th seed, which in 2021 happened to be LeBron's arch-rival, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. The finish of that game would see LeBron sustain a vicious eye poke from Draymond Green. The King may have had his eye poked, but what happened next might have left you with your eyes rolling.
He's okay, yeah. He's getting up, and he's walking okay.
He's not walking yet.
Not yet, but he's bending over. It looks like he's okay.
On down the middle, KCP with the
Gotta
ball.
go up.
He's trapped. Throws it back to LeBron. 1 second left. Has to shoot a 3. He made it! LeBron made a 3 to beat the shot clock! And the Lakers win the game. On a spectacular 3 by LeBron James.
It's always like that when I play against Golden State. They bring out the best in me, and I bring out the best in them. So I told you I was ready.
Well, the first thing I did when KCP kicked it out, I looked at the shot clock. I saw all it was, had to get it up, at least get up on the rim.
Second thing I saw was 3 rims, from being poked in the eye on that previous possession when I drove to the hole and then in transition. So I just aimed for the middle one.
I have been looking forward to this all morning long. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Barkley and Stephen A. Smith get up with us together this morning after a night that lived up to the hype in every way. And Sir Charles, I will start with you. Your reaction last night, LeBron James versus Steph Curry. It was a night the NBA needed, and we got it. What was your number one takeaway? Stephen A., how about LeBron knocking down that big shot?
It was luck. You know what? That wasn't Steph Curry shooting. That wasn't Damian Lillard shooting. That was LeBron James shooting. And even though he's improved his three-point shooting, that was luck. That was a Hail Mary. But when you're that great, you're entitled to luck here and there. And that's what I thought we saw last night. I thought his performance in the first half was anemic. I thought Anthony Davis was even worse. But they both came alive in the second half. LeBron shot 6 of 10 from the field in the second half. And obviously, Anthony Davis showed up and showed out when it really counted. So I give a lot of credit. They showed the heart of a champion and made sure to avoid the Utah Jazz, like Chuck just pointed out, because they didn't want that matchup. They're not ready for Utah as of yet.
Chuck, was it luck?
It was luck because the shot clock was running down. He had to shoot it. The shot clock was running down. But I will tell you this, Stephen A. is right. The Warriors outplayed the Lakers last night. That's why that game was so important to the Lakers, because they can't play like that and beat Utah.
The Lakers barely survived to Golden State without Kelly Oubre or James Wiseman or Damian Lee or obviously Clay or KD. Man, you should be shaking in your boot. What are you doing with all that stuff?
Don't do that.
Really?
Hey, how you doing, Skip? The king. The king is here. You see what
The king?
Can you read that right there?
The goat?
The goat.
I thought he was ankle. I thought at halftime he needed to take a big swig of his new drink, Mountain Dew Rise, because he had no lift.
Skip, you be hating.
I don't know what happened to
you
him.
You be hating, Skip, and that's so unlike you, Skip. I thought you were like, you know what? I like the guy in a clutch moment, hit a big-time shot, but that's not you.
Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clutch was LeBron's late three-pointer?
10.
10
plus.
Hey.
Boy, that was objective. We're off to a running start here.
It was 10, Skip.
That was made at 10. I'll give you that.
Look, it's the final minutes of a ball game, and as Jenny was reading, the clock was winding down. The last thing that you want to have happen after Steph Curry, and I told you, if Steph see a couple of those shots go in, you got your night cut out for you. And he messed around and saw a couple of those things go in, and he felt he could do no wrong. He got what he'd been averaging over the last 25, 30 games, which is 37 points. And I felt that if he got anywhere near his average, the Lakers were going to lose this game, because we know they like to take and make a bunch of threes. And they got guys capable of getting hot. You saw in the first half, but LeBron James in the moment, I don't really know what a flagrant is anymore. And so now, I guess because he didn't make deliberate contact, so now you can hit a guy in the face. We've seen guys get flagrants called with less than that. So LeBron having, I can't see, he got one eye. He got one eye, Skip. Shot clock winding down. This is for all the marbles, because Skip and others are waiting for this opportunity to say Michael Jordan would have never lost to the Golden State Warriors. But he said, hold on just a second. You won't be able to say it tomorrow. I'm going to pull up from 34 feet. My notes served me correctly. You do realize that's the second longest playoff game winner in the final minutes of a game since they started tracking it. Only Dame shot against Paul George is from further distance. So that lets you know, and considering how bad he and AD and the team had played in the first half, for him to get it going in the second half and to take it and say, look, bro, you know what? I'm shooting all these jumpers. We shooting these jumpers. We're a bigger team. Let's go inside. Punish them. And they did that, Skip. Given the magnitude, him being away, only playing 4 games in the last 8 weeks, his rhythm is still not there, but he found a way to get back and get himself back into the ball game and to hit a shot of that nature, of that magnitude. But I love how they do it. I love the narrative that's being written now, and you're part of the narrative that does this. Skip, now it's a go-ahead shot. When hit his, Kyrie, it was a game winner, and he hit it at exactly the same time. Now every time LeBron hits a shot, it's a go-ahead shot. Everybody else hits the exact same shot. It's a go-ahead shot now. But that's what I knew. That comes from newspaper. That's how y'all do it. Because, see, you never, the retraction is never printed with the same veracity as the allegation. Great players make great shots in great moments. That's what he did. Long live the king. Long live the king.
Tell me when you're finished.
I'm finished for a little bit.
Good. It is now thankfully, my turn. You did make one true statement in the many that you just spewed all over this table.
What happened?
It was a flagrant.
Yes!
I mean, Draymond just flat out hit him with both hands right in the face. That's the definition of a flagrant foul.
With no play on the ball.
I'm sorry, it's just two hands to the face. You just can't do it. Maybe once upon a time in 1985, it would have been a hard playoff foul, but by the letter of today's law, it's a flagrant. It's a blatantly obvious flagrant. So I'm going to give you that and only that. And I will give you this. It was a big shot for the Lakers because the Lakers were teetering. The Lakers were teetering on having to play again on Friday night against Memphis at home, and I'm sure they could beat Memphis at home, but it would be another dangerous game against Ja Morant and, you know, the rest.
Brooks,
and Valanciunas, and they all were in the 20s last night, and my Spurs gave them a valiant fight.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
And
thanks to my man Patty Mills, we actually made it a game. But the point was, Golden State made a game out of something that should have never been, because you have dominated Golden State all year. Even in the game you lost, you're up by 19, you're up by 14 with 11 minutes left. So I'm going to give you big shot, but I won't even remotely give you clutch shot. Back to Jenny's question, scale of 1 to 10. How clutch was it? I will give you a 1. You're at a 10, I'm at a 1. Let me explain it. And let me start with what I instantly tweeted moments after the shot went in. Much to your surprise and shock.
I knew it was going.
Yeah, you
when
knew
he
it
shot
was going in.
Sure.
Here is what I tweeted, if we could please see this so I can read this. Lucky, desperate three by LeBron with the pressure off at the end of the shot clock. He's at his best when there's no drive or launch decision. He can just heave and hope. If he misses, no expectation, no fault. It's an impossible shot. Besides, he was, as he said right after the game, seeing 3 rims. So I guess he picked the middle, or maybe he picked the right one. Yeah. Maybe he just heaved it and hoped, and his prayer was answered. There was zero pressure on that shot because it was at the end of the clock. And to your point, thank you for making my point. Obviously, the game was tied, and obviously there was a minute left on the clock, so it wasn't nearly late enough time for a Michael Jordan-esque shot, because Jordan would have waited till the bitter end to take and make the big shot. There's a minute left on the clock. Nobody's going to hold him accountable for a miss here. Most people would have expected him to miss a shot that he actually fell away to shoot from, 34 feet.
Okay, that's your question? So in other words, unless it's do or die, that's the only way. So
I'm just saying, we're debating the clutchness of this shot. He had to shoot the shot at the end of the clock. Right. And this is what I lecture you on. I've preached and tried to teach you. This is LeBron's biggest dilemma at the end of games. He's obviously a great passer. I still think he's the best passer in basketball. He is the greatest driver of the basketball I have ever witnessed in all my many years covering this game. Never has anybody caught my eye as a driver of the basketball the way the freight train LeBron James, especially in year 18, when he looks like he's put on a couple of pounds through his time off, but it's okay. He'll get it back as they start getting into the playoffs. But the point is, he looks like he weighs like 270 now. He's up there at 6 feet 9 inches tall. He is so powerful, you cannot keep this man from the rim. So where he's at his worst is like at the end of game 1 of the 2018 finals at Oracle against these Golden State Warriors, and he got Steph to switch on him, and all of a sudden he's got to make a choice because it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You got to make a choice. Am I going to drive it? Am I going to pull up and shoot it? Or am I going to dish it? And he dished it to George Hill, who then missed the second free throw. So we know that story. But the point is, this time, he's at his best when there's no decision to make, because what I love for him to do is take it, decide, you can't stop me. I'm going to drive this basketball, and I'm going to the free throw line. Well, what do we know about LeBron? Well, what is his Achilles heel? For one of the greatest players ever, he is the worst late-game superstar free throw shooter we have ever seen.
So, this little quote about LeBron seeing 3 rims on the shot against the Warriors allows us to take a detour to talk about something that LeBron has done more and more as he has gotten older. And that's stretch the truth. Here's a compilation of some of LeBron's most egregious lies he's told in the last decade.
I had one coach, and he used to say, put yourself in situations where you're not comfortable.
That's my favorite saying. That's my favorite saying. Sometimes you're...
My probably all-time favorite LeBron be lying moment is when you was like, yo, Kobe was out there, but I knew he was going to score 70 there.
Bro, I'm telling you.
I watched the whole game. I seen the whole game. I was at home watching the game, and I said he was going to... Before the game even started, when I said he was probably going to score 70 tonight. I don't know what made me say that, and my friends was with me, and they was like, so when he got to 70, I was like, well, he might as well go for 80 now. So I'm a fan of the game, and to see that performance was unbelievable.
Every time I say something, everyone thinks it's a fucking lie. I got homies that was literally at the house with me when Cole was dropping to 81. When he got 60, we watching the game, I'm like, oh shit, no, he might go for 80 tonight. No, I'm telling you. I got homies we could call on the phone. What time is it now?
Yeah,
back in the States? I got homies that was literally in my room. I lived in the house in Ohio at the time. That's now torn down. That's now the big house. We sat in a small room watching the game, and I was like, oh shit, Kobe going for 80 tonight.
And he really did go for 80?
He went for 81, so I did lie.
Right.
I was wrong.
But now that you're sitting in front of me, I believe you based off of the body language.
I'm telling you.
But when I seen the clip, I'm like, this nigga won.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. For real. It's crazy.
So you're holding the autobiography of Malcolm X along with Alex Haley. I don't know how far you are into the book, but what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I just started a couple days ago, but I've read a lot of notes over the years. It's my first time actually reading this from start to finish. But just a very, very smart man, and basically his words in the 60s and what was going on is actually what's going on today still.
It is a question not related to the game, but since it has been a lot of publicity yesterday and today about Godfather Part 2, which is the scene or the moment or the phrase or the quote you like more from the movie?
Oh, from The Godfather. There's too many different phrases and too many different lines in that movie to just categorize one.
But which is the one which inspires you, represents you more?
Each movie is 9 hours long. What do you want me to do? I've been listening to those guys for so long. I was listening to those guys when my first year with the Heat in 2010. And you can ask any one of my teammates back then, they had no idea who the Migos was. They were cursing me out when I would play it throughout the weight room or play it throughout the locker room. I was like, I'm telling you, these guys are next. I'm letting you know right now, they turn this off. I'm not going to hear this. Just fast forward, just knowing, take off personally, and send my condolences to Quavo and the family and the whole QC family and everybody.